think I started maybe when I was 2, thinking of Williams. And then as I got closer to it, I thought there's no way I'm going to get in it.
I went to a public high school, and of course I lived at home all my life, and you come up and suddenly you're going to go to this small school in the middle of nowhere, and believe me, in 1955 it was considered the middle of nowhere.
I had no clue. I suppose I could have applied myself.
In those days, pretty much Fred Copeland. I mean, he decided what he thought would be a good, Williams class. You told him what your high school grades were and what you thought you might do on the SAT, and he said you're in. All of us from that era owe him a lot.
I came to Williams from a small Midwestern town, so the whole experience was expanding for me.
Hey, mama, don't you treat me wrong. Come and love you, daddy, all night long, all right now.
I was not a very good student.
I had to learn the calculus that I needed to solve the physics problems, and I was always a week behind.
Yeah, a couple of people graduated lower in the class than I did, but I never understood how they did it.
I got 4 warnings first semester.
Fred Stocking, he was a wonderful professor. Clay Hunt.
The legendary guys were like Fred Schumann.
Clay directed me in a play.
Each of us remembers 5 or 6 professors that really had an impact.
Fred Green was just starting out.
My honors thesis advisor was Professor Russell Bostard.
Bob Waite was a fabulous history teacher. Fred Rudolph, who still lives in Williamstown, was a wonderful teacher.
I majored in economics, but I took almost a full major in English, and I took lots of art courses.
I majored in English. I don't know if I would again, but I did, and it was wonderful.
Both Lane and Lane Faison and Whit Stoddard, they created an interest in art that's been my avocation, one of my avocations, serious avocations ever since.
Ted Malin, if you wanted to take astronomy, which I did because it was what they called in my day a gut course. But there were no guts. Not for me anyway, because you still had to study.
Shake it up, baby. Shake it up, baby. Twist it so.
Really, no one had read the assignment. And after 4 or 5 questions, Bob Waite said, the hell with it, gentlemen. Let's close our books and go home. And we did. But we felt so guilty that I have to admit, we'd all read the assignment when we came back the next day.
Perfect combination of a challenging academic environment with very motivated students.
Williams has always had a fantastic faculty, and that's just as true today as it was back in our time.
Buildings are nice and students are good, but they leave after 4 years, and you have a board that meets maybe 3 or 4 times a year that sets policy, but it's the faculty. And we really did have a good faculty here at Williams.
Tell your mama, tell your pa, I'm gonna send you back to Arkansas. Oh, yes, ma'am. You don't do right.
So campus life was very different 50 years ago.
I played hockey here, and I came as a freshman to the first year that they had a hockey rink here.
Finney Baxter, our president, had us over for meals.
The fraternities defined the social life at Williams.
Once you went into a fraternity, you were somewhat isolated from other people.
It was smaller. It was an old men's school. It was also a great opportunity for athletics and other activities.
It was a lot about going to Bennington.
In retrospect, it was very insular. We didn't have the same opportunity to interact with other classmates that they have now.
I had such a wonderful time here. I mean, the environment, not just Williams, but Williamstown.
We loved it.
What we got from Williams, at least in my own personal case, is what brings me back more than anything else.
I remember being in Jerry Meyer's philosophy course. He said, you know, life is about 10% things that happen to you and 90% how you react. Oh, that's heavy. I mean, that's very, very good.
Combination of professors and friends and students, I would say, raised my aspirations personally.
Growing up, maturing, broadening aspect of your undergraduate days is so much important, and the long-lasting friendships you get from that. So that's sort of a quick précis of sort of the important things that I took away.
To me, Williams is people, as well as an education that, despite myself, I got and has served me well ever since.
I guess I've always been interested in breaking the mold a little bit, doing something a little different, looking for the next big thing. It really has pretty much defined my life, actually, and I would say it started with Williams.
From the very beginning, it was a very special place. It's the hills and the Purple Valley, and the whole thing works for me, works for a lot of people.
Well, you know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now. Don't forget to say you will. Don't forget to say yeah, 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 yeah. Say you will. Say it right now.
I was a member of the class of 61, class of 62, and ultimately the class of 63.
I still remember.